All right, welcome one and all to the Boring Review live stream Friday morning for us. It's the start of our spring break, so we are just crazy enough to not be sleeping at this moment, but to be doing a live stream. A lot of our audience is they're out and about, living the nightlife at this time. Hopefully, they're staying indoors. Obviously, they are nightlife in the home because of the lockdown.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, the reality is, I've been getting plenty of sleep during this quarantine, man. So I don't need any more. But feeling good. Up early
I'm
Saturday
gonna plug in
morning.
my internet real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Anyways, so I was talking to Nick yesterday, guys, and I was telling them, I was not feeling the best, so I literally stood in bed on the couch uh, all day. So I wanted to watch the World Cup. Everybody was telling me about. I thought it was on Hotstar, couldn't find it, but I had found it was on Hotstar. They have it was the West Indies. I want to say it's the West Indies versus India 2019. It was in the December game, T20, right? So I'm watching it, and it's cool because in the beginning the announcers are talking about the team, how India has beat the West Indies or whatnot. The last, I was at like 4 or 5 matches, something to that effect. But then The Rock is actually on there, and Kevin Hart, and they're having like an interview. I guess The Rock's a big fan as well. So I watched the interview, start watching the game, and I noticed that it only said about 4 hours and change, or like around 5 hours. I was like, I guess that's right for cricket, even though everybody had said it was longer. I was in it for the long haul. It only showed like the first part of it. I was so mad, dude. I was telling them that I was watching that. I thought it was on Hotstar that they said to watch the World Cup. It was actually on I guess YouTube. You were telling me this morning, but the West Indies and India is the T20 event, the 2019 in December is on there, but they only give you like India bowling. They don't give you batting. So they give you the first part of the game. I was like, are you serious, dude? I was so mad. Like, no. And you can go see like the highlights of the rest of the game or whatnot and see India put in some work. It was funny because I recognized some names just from the reviews right away that we have done and the reactions like what's the dude that hit Pants was on there. He was
Yuvraj?
batting six. I was like, yeah, he was on
Oh,
there. Ponce was on there. Ponce was batting six. I was like, what? You know what I mean? But I guess he's not even the best player on the team. But he just happened to go off
no,
on that
there's so
one
many
video
good
we
players
saw.
on India. It's not even funny.
Yeah, Ponce was on there. Rohit, is it? Rohit was on there. So it's pretty cool.
Rohit Sharma. Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to remember with cricket, there's different formats, right? There is the test format. That's the day format. As far as I understand, I'm trying to get confirmation here. As far as I understand, with the ICC World Cup, those are 50 over matches, and so when each team has 50 overs, I mean, I guess you can in 4 or 5 hours. It's not the longer version like the Test cricket version, but I'm sure they'll help us out in the comment section for the ICC World Cup. I was actually just bringing up the different lists of winners, and so I guess we'll jump into that. Before we do, hello everyone. They're all coming in about that. How is everyone doing? We have a few questions to start off with. So this format today is there's and we have some reviews that we're going to be recording later on today in private, but there's no reviews planned for today. It's just discussion. It's just to say hello. We do the morning streams, so when we do, we know more people are able to see because it's evening time for you. So we hope everyone's doing wonderful and everyone's safe. This first question says, will you review the test? He's asking me, and yes, I've already recorded. I will be dropping it tonight, my review, or tonight for me. So tomorrow I'll be reviewing my or
Let
drop
me
my
tell
review
you
for the
guys though, Nick was so excited about it that he did not wait for me an hour. Um, he did not wait for me. He's like, dude, this is too good. I've been just streaming episodes back to back. And while he had did that, I jumped on Tiger King because it was on Netflix. Everybody was talking about it. My family members asked me to do a review on it. So I was like, all right, let me go jump on that and watch Tiger King. But he was like, dude, I can't wait for you. This show is awesome. I was like, all right, dude, I'll still catch it. But yeah, he was definitely entertained, man. And you know, he's definitely very honest with his opinion or whatnot. So if he says it's good, it's good. I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. But I can't believe, do you binge that, man? You must have been up till like 2-3 o'clock in the morning a couple times.
Well, you know, I'm a pretty lucky guy. I gotta admit, I really am. My youngest is 6. I know you're young, so you understand this, but with my youngest being 6, he's able to, you know, wake up on his own, get breakfast on his own, go to sleep most. And with the day and age we live today with YouTube, it's not just adults that watch YouTube, it's kids too. I'm able to, you know, not even ask them. I don't even tell them go. They entertain themselves for about half the day when they're not doing schoolwork and whatnot. And so I have quite a good amount of time to watch shows. Me and my wife, Jody, and she just said she takes them outside for me too. Now I was taking them outside the first few weeks of school. So and we love to have our own independent time. We love to have together time as well, but we like to have our space. We like to have our own independent time. So I'm pretty lucky. So you're watching a lot of the test. Now, I like this question because we've kind of danced around this question here and there. We've talked about this a little bit, but we'll go a little more. Good question. How long have you guys known each other? So I don't know. Has it been 5 or 6 years, Gabe? I want to say 5 years.
No, man, longer than that. This is I want to say 7, right? Because I mean, well, we've been really friends hanging out after that first year, so like 6 years, I would say, because I was at the school since about 7 years. In my 7th year there now.
All right. Well, so it's I still say 5 years. He says 6 or 7, but my years at the school that we're both working at currently. The assistant principal asked if I wouldn't mind sitting in an interview for a 4th grade. And the way it works, at least in our district, you're already hired in the district. Now you got to hire at different schools to get a job at that school. So he was trying to get a job at our school. Thought that our assistant principal in passing had told me that the interviewer's name was Laura. And here in the States, it's a girl's name. So I was expecting a girl. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's interview Laura. And so in comes Gabe. I'm like, that's no girl. And his name is it's not Laura. And so that was just a miscommunication. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the interview. And when you're a part of it, you don't really have too much questions. And I guess Gabe says I asked some tough questions. I don't know. I was just trying to act all cool. But long story short, he got the job off. And they appoint him as my mentee and me as his mentor, just kind of show him the ropes. And it's a good way for other people not to worry about showing them all the ins and outs. And every day we have these prep periods for about 50 minutes where we can get stuff done. This guy is in my room every day for 50 minutes. To his credit, every day on my kind of downtime to get stuff done, he's in my room asking me questions. And I am too nice not to say, go away, leave me alone. Let's get into it. And so every day, I mean, it was like Jedi training. I was showing him everything I knew. Now, I was still fairly new in my career as well. So everything I was telling him, this is just what I do. Who knows if it works? But we, you know, it's funny because I'm the kind of guy where I don't make too often. I have a lot of acquaintances, but I don't trust too many people on that level. And so he was so friendly and so jovial and so, here's a candy bar, here's this or this, and so nice and so energetic that he wore me down. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can trust this guy. Maybe I'll bring down the and invite him in. And I'm glad I did. But I mean, you know, Gabe, he's just the most friendly guy. The way he is on this channel is the way he is in real life. No joke. It's been a while. That's my story.
Yeah. You know, it's exactly what he said. And it was just one of those situations where I've never walked into any career or any place thinking I know everything. Okay. That's when you get yourself in trouble. And I've never been embarrassed to ask for help, to ask for assistance. So literally, he made the mistake of saying, my door's always open. And I took that literally. I was there every single day on my lunch. I would come in early, stalk them in the morning. Hey, I've got to teach this lesson today. How would you teach it? How would you go about that? And, that's just who I am, though. I do want to get it correct, especially our jobs are important. We mold young minds. You know what I mean? So, it was one of those situations where eventually I felt bad because I was taking up like a lot of, like you said, a lot of his downtime. I'd come in the morning, I'd be stalking him. So I was like, dude, can I get you lunch or whatever? He's like, no, dude, I'm impressed. You're actually asking for help. And then we stuck a friend from there. And then I think we talked that, matter of fact, he used that same phrase. He was like, it's like I'm the Jedi Master and you're the Padawan learner. I was like, oh, you like Star Wars? And forget about it. That's when we struck up the friendship.
Yeah,
but
I forgot
just looking
about
through
that.
the comments,
Part
man.
of friendship was talking about movies and whatnot.
Right. Somebody else
All right.
asked a question earlier I want to get to.
So find that question. I'll pull it up. But I saw this question: Breaking Bad, is it worth watching? Now, I have not finished Breaking Bad. I have like 5 episodes left, and I actually had 5 episodes left before we started getting to Indian content. So it's in, but I had binged this thing about 6 months ago in about 2 months, and you can ask Jody. I mean, 2 or 3 episodes a night because I had never watched. It is so good. It is so worth your time. I would say, especially the first 3 or 4 seasons, they are so interesting. That yes, it's definitely worth watching.
He actually watched it on my recommendation. One of the big lunchroom conversations as well. We were talking about the best television series of all time, sitcoms, and people mentioned the common ones: Sopranos, Friends, and I'm like, you got to put Breaking Bad in there. And Breaking Bad had gained its popularity. I mean, but those were still, it's a niche audience, and I don't think people really appreciate how great Bryan Cranston is in this show. He is amazing. From being Hal and Malcolm in the Middle, okay?
Well,
and
that's
then he was
thing.
also
That's the thing. You compare him to Malcolm in the Middle, and he did a fine acting job, but it's such a different character for him. I feel like that helped his career because when he played this role, you're like, I didn't know he had that in him.
Right. He won Emmys for this show, bro. It was crazy. He was also on the show How I Met Your Mother. He was one of the he was like a recurring character on the show. As a matter of fact, he's a recurring character on the show How I Met Your Mother, and Saul Goodman from Better Call Saul is also on that show. How I Met Your Mother. They're recurring characters. But anyway, and even on there, he plays a comedic character. So it just really displays an unbelievable acting performance. Plus, you guys know me. I'm all about the bad guys. I think they finally did the bad guy right in Breaking Bad. In my opinion, even when you compare it to The Sopranos, right? Tony Soprano came into the life. He was a mobster because his dad was a mobster. His uncle was a mobster. But this really showed how somebody could just fall into that life and the pitfalls of power. And at no point, especially early on, do you ever feel that he's a malicious character. Everything he's doing is by happenstance, really. Everything that's happening until he does become a malicious character. And I forgot, it might have been in an Avengers movie. The minute I say it, Nick will probably pick up on it. But somebody in a movie said you either live. It was The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, you either live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or you die a martyr. Harvey Two-Face said that, right? Or at the time it was Harvey Dent, and that's so true. Everybody in their own mind is a hero of their own stories, but sometimes you just live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm listening to you, but I'm also reading all these different comments. I said about an hour ago. I'm definitely a slow mover in the morning. So a lot of questions about the COVID-19 in the States. I've been reading obviously a lot of news coverage. I haven't been watching too much news coverage because it's just depressing. The U.S. sad, it really is. We have so many cases every single day, more and more cases. It's insane. I want to say we have more cases. Is that correct? Not
We
more deaths,
have
but
a
more
quarter of the
cases.
cases. There's a million cases, a little over a million around the world, and we've got over 250,000. So we got a quarter of the cases, man. It's bad.
Or 500,000, right? No, oh no, maybe 250. Yeah, but New York has it really bad, but it's everywhere. I mean, every state's been affected. I point now has a death. If not, a few days ago there was 3 states that did not have a death yet, but it's everywhere. Most states are issuing lockdown, closing businesses and whatnot. Here in our state, there's been a business closure that was extended through April 30th, where non-essential open. There's been some that stayed open for a few days after that order by the governor, and they got in a lot of trouble for that. So it's everyone's staying at home for the most. Still go to the store and you can still buy your groceries and whatnot. And there's a lot of places that are offering free food. These different organizations that perishable food that they want to get out to people, and the school districts and whatnot are giving free food at different locations. So you can go to your car, you can pick it up. They put it home. You don't have to get out and say hi to anyone. But it's getting pretty bad, and it's not getting any better. It's not like dire where people, like it's in the movies or whatever, but it is pretty crazy. And it's the thing that I'm concerned about is there's been no official everyone stay at home work order type thing. I'm waiting for that to happen at some point. It's what you got to do for at least a few weeks to stop the spread.
I was scrolling through comments. Somebody said, what's our opinion on it? It's a bioweapon. And it's one of those situations where, we watch so much television. It's very easy for your imagination to just get away from you. You know what I mean? And I saw this on an episode of 24. I saw this on this episode or that episode. This is probably more closely related to the movie Contagion. Now, I know you saw it a while back, Nick. You weren't a big fan of it. It's just so relevant now, but it's something that probably spread through communal spread. And it's there's a lot of diseases out there, man, and especially novel diseases. If you don't have any antibodies built up and it's introduced new into a population, yeah, it's gonna do some damage. I don't think it's a bioweapon. I just think it's something, that unfortunately happens, you know what I mean, where novel strains and viruses are introduced into the population, and sometimes we're ready for them and sometimes we're not, man. It's just that simple. But I guess Bill Gates had given a TED talk a couple years ago where he was saying, the most dangerous thing is not nuclear war or pollution or any of the number or myriad of things that threaten the world, but it is disease. Because and he was just ranting off facts about how many new diseases. And if you think about it, just over the last 10 years, we've had SARS, N1, H1N1, MARS, Ebola came back. Recently, measles was coming back. You know what I mean? That's a big thing too, because people have stopped not vaccinating their kids, and you got a whole bunch of people in that community that don't believe in vaccinations. So now measles is making an appearance back, and that's highly contagious. You know what I'm saying? So he specifically said disease is probably going to be one of the biggest threats to mankind. So, and this is Bill Gates, this is one of the smartest people on the planet. But that's we're just trying to stay at home, trying to do our part. It's my son's birthday in a few days. We're gonna have a drive-by birthday party where people are just gonna drive by the house and honk or whatnot, drop off a gift. But that's what we have to do in order to keep everyone safe. And everybody do your part, guys. Stay safe. Keep your loved ones safe.
Yeah, there's questions about how much food you have stocked up and whatnot. We have, I know me and Gabe are both kind of in a similar situation. We have several months at least of food stocked up. Store at least once a week. I'm all masked up and I'm all gloved up and everything. And I'm not talking or doing anything to anyone, but running as perishable as I can until they tell us, you can't go anymore. And then I'll be good for several months. So I'm not worried about that. We still have food delivery types. But I mean, it's crazy right now. This is not something I would have predicted when we first heard about it, and it's unfortunate. But I am proud for the most part of how the state has reacted and has closed things down and has tried to do the best they can. All right, so let's get into a few things here. So this is the Abe has been very, very vocal the last few days about our new artwork. I put in the description box who's responsible for that artwork. So we have an awesome viewer named Varun Kumar, and I put his Instagram hashtag in the description box. We're going to put that on for his channel because this guy, he is a fan. He emailed our email and he said, hey, you know, I want to contribute any way I can. He just likes our channel, which I think is so awesome. And so his name is Varun. He's doing all the artwork for both channels, and I think he works for a company where he's at, and so he does it on his own time. And we just want to give a big shout out to him. Awesome job. I got a few other shout outs I want to give. Yesterday, when we posted our video about the 6/6s, there was a viewer that kind of melted my heart a little bit. And so I just want to mention it just real quick. This is a family, and this is the YouTube channel, or the YouTube name is a viral Shreyas Natanj. And he says, always watching your reaction. My family have watched all your videos since the Star Wars 9 one. And that made me think like an entire family is watching our I don't put myself to that level whatsoever. And so that just blew my mind. And that really impressed me. So I want to give a shout out to him. And so your family, what are their names? And so he told me their names. We got, and I'm sorry for saying the names wrong. I already know I'm going to say them wrong. We got Averil. That's his sister or her sister, Katu, the dad, Ashok, and the mom, Geeta. Thank you so much for that family and here at Boring Families to watch us. I'm going to make you a little small game so we can get Jody in here.
Sorry.
All good.
Thank you so much for watching us. I mean, that was so special. That was so special for me to realize that we have entire families gathering around the device to watch our. So I just want to give a shout out to them. And then in a few minutes, I'll let these guys talk. I'll stop talking for a second. In a few minutes, I'm going to look up the name of the person that guessed Gabe's hat, Karate Kid Cobra Kai hat. I said I'm going to give that person a shout out. I'm going to find their name so I can give them a shout out. But yeah, there's a few shout outs for us. We have a super chat that we're going to get to right now, and then I will stop talking. So let me find this super chat question or comment. And that is on right now. We absolutely love that. We know that times right now are kind of tough, so we're not going to ask for them too much. But if you want, we will definitely graciously accept that. Let me go ahead and find. I just lost it because a lot of comments are coming in. We love it.
I didn't mean to. Sorry, somebody commented. Girl comes in.
That's the way. That's the way the world works. So this is Awanish Kumar, and to react to Kapoor and Sons trailers. So I'm going to take a picture of that request, and I still have to get to some of the requests from the other live streams. I'm not really good at. We'll get it taken care of. But thanks so much for that super chat. We really appreciate that, Awanish. You have a blessed day, my friend.
Real quick, Jody, I know you just came in, but Nick, there's a comment from Julia Bryce at 8:14, and maybe you may want to answer that question. Okay, why do you name your channel Boring Reviews? It's complete opposite.
Oh, yes.
You guys got to get
that comment up there.
Nick's sense of humor and my own as well. We're very sarcastic, but Nick, take it away.
All right, so that I did see that comment, and it won't let me scroll any higher, so I can't put it on here. But this was Julia's comment, and he asked, why did you call it Born Reviews? Okay. I mentioned a lot, and I mentioned a lot in the comments. I think I mentioned in a few videos, but here we go again. So when I started this channel, and before these guys joined in, I have a name. Before that, I had a little teacher account to sell some different resources that I made for teachers called Teacher Pay Teachers. And I often, but I had put some of my stuff on there. And so I had called it Boring Teacher. And the reason why is because my resources I create for my kids are very boring. It's fluffy. They're not cutesy. They're not anything. It's just nitty gritty. Here's the questions, answer the question. And I thought, let me put those things on this site and see if I can get doing that. And I wanted to be very honest. It's going to be boring. So Boring Teacher, here you go. And so when I did this channel, I thought, okay, Boring Teacher Reviews. I thought things together, but that was too long of a name. So I just changed it to Boring Reviews. And the reason why is this. First of all, I know that when I get talking, I kind of have a voice. I'm not as energetic as Jody or Gabe. And so I'm honest with myself. I know sometimes my monotone voice, even though I'm excited about some, can be a little boring. I knew that if no one liked this channel and they didn't like my reviews or our reviews, I knew that if I called it Boring Reviews, I would not be lying. Boring. And if they liked it, then we exceed expectations of the channel's name. So we appreciate you saying that we're not boring, but that when we just all fell in love with the name, it's caught on, and for the unforeseeable future, it's not going to change.
It's funny when you were telling the wet nap story. I'm like, that's a boring review story. That's a boring. Matter of fact, I know Jody's out of the frame right now, but I was gonna say, Jody, was it really the wet naps, or did he just like talk you into a monotone, comatose state? And by the time you noticed it, oh man, we're married, we're engaged. Like the conversation starts, and by the time it finishes, he just.
Actually, okay, so when Nick and I met, he had these serious cats, so I brought her, and now I've got hair on me. He had these seriously thick sideburns. I mean, he had like the 1800th century, the 19th
side, but just the chops.
Like, they were straight down. And my first initial reaction when I first saw him the first time, I was like, whoa, those are sideburns. So that's what I first thought.
And that did the trick somehow. I'm not sure, but it worked.
Oh, I know. The
I was
minute
just
Jody
so proud
saw those, she was like, I could change him.
And so I kept those bad boys coming.
It is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Not everyone can, right?
I can't, man. This is about as much facial hair as I can grow.
All right, so I'm gonna find that name. Jody, they asked when are we gonna watch Kumbhalanga 9?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna finish that one today. We started it last night, but I'll admit
this will be good.
So I was super tired. Like I did not sleep well at all the night before, and my eyes were like burning and watering. I was just tired and groggy. And Nick put it on at 9 p.m. and right when I was going to bed.
9 p.m. Oh, that's so late.
I was in bed, like ready to fall asleep.
It is for Jody.
You know me.
It is for Jody. How dare you?
So he thank you. So he put it on. I was like, seriously, right now? And so I had a hard time following along with the subtitles because my eyes were just, I don't know if you guys know, like if your eyes like burn at night when you're like so tired and then they start getting watery. And so it's hard to read. They're small and they talk so fast and they're blending together, but we watched about 20 minutes of it. We're going to finish it tonight though, for sure, because I did enjoy the dynamic from the brothers was very, very interesting. I felt bad for the younger brother who like came home for camp and everybody, like his older brothers were just like, are you serious? Like they were like, so I don't know, immature, like fighting and
they were they were acting like brothers. I'm assuming they're brothers.
Two brothers that old act like that.
But the scenery,
oh my gosh,
beautiful. Their front door was like a mosquito net drape. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But they had a little hammock there next to the water. I'm excited. What the craze is. We only got about 20 minutes in. Funny, oddly enough, I found the shout out name for the person that guessed Karate Kid. Oddly enough, it is the same person that Run. So he gets a double shout out today. Varun Kumar, you are double timed, man. Thanks again for all you do. But yes, we're gonna watch and all right, Gabe. We've been
Nick,
talking quite a bit. Here's a question just for you. Okay. Take it away, Mike. Oh, wait. Well, hold on. That's a question for you too. Let's do this question first. I'll be right back.
Come to India and let's visit Mizpar town. I'd love to go. Obviously, right now we're on lockdown, but it's definitely on my bucket list. One of the areas I want to visit. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to Mizpar though, man. There's a lot of guns out there, dude. A lot of guns out there. But yeah, just like America, right? No, it'd definitely be somewhere cool to visit. I've traveled a lot. When I was born in Dominican Republic, but I've been to different places in the Caribbean. My wife's from Mexico, part Hawaiian. So I've been to a lot of different areas. Love traveling. Yeah, definitely one of the things that's on my list to do. What was the other question, Nick?
The other question, react to the Ben Affleck once again. He makes his appearance.
Oh man, Gabe visit Mizpar shots. Ben Affleck was the best Batman. Dies instantly. So here's a funny story. Like I was mentioning earlier at the beginning of the stream. I was saying, dude. So yesterday I spent all day either on the couch or in bed, and Savannah, for whatever reasons, DC Universe finally threw some new content on there. How dare they? And it was of 1989 and 1992 Batman. So I put on a 1989 Batman, and Savannah, no questions asked. She immediately, and she's not a movie person. She doesn't really watch it. She's like, oh, you mean the best Batman? And actually sat there and watched it. And I'm like, wow, there goes the side attack. You know what I mean? So I am in the minority. She loves Michael Keaton as Batman. Jack Nicklaus was amazing in that movie, but still Heath Ledger's the best Joker. I mean, I'm sorry, that's my opinion. But watch the 1989 Batman. It's on DC Universe, guys. So if you guys have it, so is Batman Returns and the first original 2 Supermans. That's all the actual WB movies that they have on there. None of the Christopher Nolan stuff is on there. None of the new DC Universe stuff is on there. So frustrating, but that's a rant for a different day. Nick, the comment I wanted to talk about was the 828 one. It says, man in their can. You see that one? I am trying to figure out how to help out their parents with some schoolwork and all.
I'm looking for it. Here we go.
Okay, so as teachers, I just feel we had a responsibility to answer this question. And I've had a lot of family reach out to me, friends. Like, I'm pulling my hair out, trying to help my kids at home. How do you do it? And I think we have our areas of expertise. Jody yesterday, as a matter of fact, is my son's teacher, and she was holding a live chat session with the kids. And I think one of the very important things, and I saw she was doing it on there, is modeling for kids. It's hard to just say something and have them pick up on it, especially the younger they are. Okay, not everybody learns autonomously where they could just read a book or read a manual. They have to watch people do it, so try to use different strategies. Jody had a fabulous modeling strategy she did for the kids yesterday. Kudos on that. And Alex up on there right away, where you show them how to do it, especially if it's something to do with math, something on a more technical aspect. And take your time. Don't be afraid to take different approaches to teach it differently. Me personally, I take a very, very, very layman's approach to everything. I dumb my material down, so to speak. So one of the things I tell my kids in class, and I don't care if it's whatever I'm teaching, I try to make it very, very simple, because when you throw these really big words at them and complicated words at them or whatever, they get all overwhelmed. Make it simple, okay? And for instance, I'm teaching math. I'm like, guys, try to figure out what they're asking you to do. Ultimately, math is basically 4 basic operations. You're either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. And really, you're either composing or decomposing. You're putting numbers together or you're taking them apart. That's it. Keep it simple, and then they'll be less overwhelmed and more receptive. So that's my advice. Jody, I refer to you because I loved your lesson yesterday. Yeah.
Thank you. I was just teach acronym. Keep it simple, stupid.
There you go. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
So I guess I on the other hand, let's keep going. I was just so worried though. Like with third graders, we just introduced fractions, and fractions it's such a big part of fourth grade. That was like
Right.
crappy time to be missing out on that. So I wanted to give them that little boost, as Steve Urkel says, boost. I think the most important part right now is not to stress too much about learning as a parent or an aunt or whatever. I think it's more on like the social emotional, because I had a lot of students saying like in the little chat off to the side that their parents are out of jobs right now. I had one student who is going. And so it's a hard time for a lot of parents. They've been sending me emails saying that they're having a hard time trying to work from home and teach their kids. And I'm like, just do what you do. Like focus on keeping your family safe right now. I think the best thing to do is just read with them. Yeah. And if you can read over the phone, or like you can use Zoom or Google Hangouts or something, and just ask them questions about what they read. Like, why is the character think's going to happen next? Have you ever felt the way the character's feeling? I think that's a big part, is picking books too that the students can relate to the characters and realize the one's going through this. Another good thing is writing. All students struggle with writing. I think we all know that. They cannot write a complete sentence. So start having your own story. I know our oldest made a whole presentation about the tundra biome. I was like, what is a biome? No. I realized that I was having a dumb moment. But I knew tundra, okay?
So the most important thing for any parents out there, more interesting topics, but the most important thing I feel is here in the States, we have classrooms of 30 to 35 kids. So these a lot of one-on-one time in the classroom. And so when they're at home, if you're able to spend some time to work with that kid, 15, 20 minutes in reading, 15, 20 minutes in writing, that's better than nothing, because that's going to be about on average how it works out to the kind of time they're going to have with the teacher. And so if you can, or even give them that 15 or 20 minutes, then that's really going to help them out because they have that one-on-one time. All right. So a few questions here. Facts in Hindi tells it'll be virus. I actually already did, so it's on the channel, so check that out. This question's for you, Gabe. Is your dad Indian origin? They're getting confused by your name, last name.
No, Gabe Gayton, though, he's just my favorite character in all Indian content. I think Nawaz is probably my favorite. He's one of my favorite actors, period. I love bad guys. If you look at all my favorite actors, Al Pacino, Scarface, that's what he's best known for, or The Godfather, right? Denzel, he was amazing in Training Day. That's really when I became a huge Denzel fan. So I love characters that especially play a really convincing villain, and Gaitonde is one of my favorites. So that's why I put the last name. No, my father is actually from Dominican Republic. My grandparents actually, but that's why my first name is actually Osved. I want to say it's on my grandfather's side is from French Guyana. So that's why my first name is French. But yeah, no, not of Indian origin, to my knowledge. I've never done one of those family tree things. Have you ever done that, Nick? How far back can you go?
Joe, we have like a family tree type thing. I haven't done the DNA. Jody has a DNA thing that she still needs to send in that she got for Christmas. She's afraid to be shut down for this time being. Who knows?
But I will say I've done a family tree, and majority of my mom's side is all from Scotland. They're from Scotland. A couple people are in England, and then my great grandmother is German, like 100% German. So just her side is German, but that's I'm pretty much all Scottish. Got Scottish and the English and a little bit of Welsh. Hence the reason why I got burned outside when I was outside for like an hour. Sunblock reminder.
I like this question. Do you edit the videos? I'm not sure if I want to answer that and admit that the horrible editing is by me, but
not really anymore though.
Hopefully Nick, I've got a little better. But
yeah, the technical issues. Rank these movies: Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, also DC versus Marvel. What do y'all prefer? Do you see that?
Marvel.
838? No,
right now. So why don't you get started
DC.
with DC versus Marvel?
8:38.
Me and Nick are DC guys. You know, it's funny because it's so popular to be, again, one of the things we struck up our friendships. So it's so popular to be Marvel fans because they're crushing it, right? And that's what everybody knows now. Captain America, Iron Man, and just me and Nick talking, we're like, listen, that's cool, but DC was first. They've got the better characters, and this is at work. You know, one of the many conversations I'm sure Jody was riveted by, and we're explaining how these are actually B-list characters. They finally got to Thanos, which is an A-list character, but especially in the MCU, they haven't even introduced a lot of the A-list characters. Okay, Tony Stark, Iron Man, that's a B-list character. It was amazing what they were able to do and create that team. But they've got the X-Men now, Fantastic Four, that's A-list. Spider-Man obviously is A-list. They finally got him in the MCU, but that was in Sony before. But yeah, we're DC guys. Nick, you rank the movies. Star Wars, Harry
let me
Potter,
talk
or
about
Lord of the
DC
Rings.
Marvel for a second because I love this topic. So,
yeah, go ahead.
I got two posters up there. DC is on top for a reason. You can't always see that in the videos that we edit because the screen is smaller. You can see it right now. If I was to ask the audience right now, what are the 3 top selling comic book characters of all time? I wonder if they can say that the characters, Superman, Batman, but they are. I just looked that up recently, a few days ago, because I was curious about that question. Superman sold over 600 million comics. It's that they can't get a continuous, constant stream of movies of his. They've tried many, many times. I think number 3 is there's that Marvel character.
The number 1 Marvel property.
I think Spider-Man may be at this time the most profitable character, though, as far as merchandise, T-shirts, sweaters. Spider-Man just sells it out of the park. So when Sony has control of Spider-Man the rights and they issue a new movie like they have the last few years, they're doing that because they know they can make billions of dollars on the merchandising. They don't really care how well the movie does, which is a shame. Now he's in the MCU, so now they're making twice smart by them. But as far as ranking these movies, all right. Now, first of all, sorry, Jody, DC or Marvel?
I already said Marvel, but I just
said it earlier.
I feel like Superman, you can't go against him. Like, unless you have kryptonite, the dude is like impossible
but
to beat.
He embodies so much good, and that's why this movies in the first place. My mom would tell me stories all the time of when I was 3 or 4 and I'm watching Superman 3. If you watch Superman 3 with Christopher Reeve, it's good Superman versus bad Superman, and they're fighting and they're choking each other. My mom said when I was 3 or 4, I would get on a fake cape. I would put on a piece of paper, an S on my chest. I'd have her do it for me, and I would
love it
on the floor, watching it in the living room. She used to work from home, and I fell in love with Superman at such a young age. That's how I love movies. I about these characters, and that's why I watch more and more movies. But Star Wars Superman, he embodies so much good. He's such a good person. When he sees in a tree or someone falling from a cliff, he can't not save them. And I'm pretty sure whether it's the comics or maybe I heard it in a series where it got to the point where he was just saving people nonstop, that he had to shift and not just be saving people constantly. But that's a man.
I think it's just because he made us watch it last night. But do you remember
Man of Steel?
Do you remember when we had Mark Tyler Nobleman whole presentation? For anybody who's interested in a really, really good book, Mark Tyler Nobleman wrote a behind the scenes about anger and all that. And who was well, it is Superman, right? That he wrote Batman.
No, that's Batman. That's Batman. Batman.
He wrote all about Batman and like the original creator of Batman, and he like did all this digging, and he basically was like this kind of investigating. Cool, interesting story if anybody's interested. But yeah, Nick pieced out. So
yeah,
what's your order, Gabe? Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. So check that.
There it is.
Out. You need to get it. He was awesome. The information's awesome. But yeah,
if you don't know about Bill Finger, then learn about guy. He was screwed in his life for what he did.
And he created Batman.
Well, he helped create Batman.
Created my favorite character of all time, Batman, and that's why DC is my favorite. Bottom line, I always thought it was so cool that somebody without powers was being a hero. You didn't need superpowers to be a hero. That was always the thought that I loved about Batman. You know, you could just do it with gut and wit, and obviously he has a lot of money, but he's super smart. That's one of his best powers. He's the world's smartest detective. You know what I mean? But that was a great book with Bill Wonder instead of Boy Wonder, and he's, you know, because of that book actually, and because of his Netflix, it was a Netflix Hulu documentary. Bill Finger's family has now been credited with, I mean, Bill Finger has long passed, but with some of the rights for Batman. And I mean, talk about the second selling comic book all time, you know, Batman. And as far as like movies and TV, I'm pretty sure it's actually outsold Superman. Again, Spider-Man is the most profitable overall because of the merchandising. But man, I'm telling you, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it happened.
Soups is still
as far as ranking the movies. Really? Wow. Okay. Number one movie, in my opinion, or ranking these movies, in my opinion, Star Wars. Absolutely. I love Star Wars, Lord of the Rings 2, and Harry Potter 3.
You know, it's tough because I love all these franchises, and if you're a nerd, you have to like these franchises. I'm just sorry, it's just the way it is. I'm a Star Wars guy first and foremost. I've got to say I am. Some of the movies as strong as others, but just the world, just the idea, just the creativity, I just can't get over it. Lord of the Rings is fast, slow burn. Harry Potter, I love the books. I read the books several times, and I love those characters. The movies aren't nearly as good as they're really good. And so I think I'd put Harry Potter above Lord of the Rings just because Lord of the Rings, as good as it is a slow burn.
How about you, Jody? I could tell probably something that start with books because that's how so Star Wars would be last because she loves reading. So if I know Jody,
I think I can predict. She's going to say Harry Potter, definitely the first one. And she's going to say, I don't care about the other two. I made her watch Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, whatsoever. So I would say if she had to choose, she would say Harry Potter, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Go for it. What do you think? Was I correct?
Yeah. I am not the biggest fan of Star Wars. I do like the Rogue. Is that the one where you introduce Rey and Finn?
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Just kidding. That one.
She's such a
I love that. I like that one. I like the one with Felicity Jones. What was that one?
That Rogue One.
That was Rogue One. Okay. So Lord of the Rings, the only thing I liked about it, and please forgive me, I'm so sorry. And I know that they're books and people love them, is whoever the guy was who played the guy. He played
Gandalf.
in North. No, he played in North and South.
Oh, she's talking about the Hobbit series. She's talking about Thorin.
Yeah. Mr. Thornton in North and South. I just love him in that movie.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, it had to do with books.
Next question.
Okay, 2 quick questions. Nick, how tall are you? Gabe, how tall are you?
No, hold on. Abby also said in the comments, let me guess, Nick looks about 5'9" and Gabe looks like.
You were right about me. You weren't right about Gabe. I'm actually a smidge taller than Gabe.
Yeah. I was not blessed with height. I just sit in a higher chair when I'm over at Nick's house. But I'm about 5'7", almost 5'8". Nick's a little taller than I am. So yeah. Love to see you. You see Pinkies?
Joey's looking so pretty. Yes, she does. Always.
Love to see a reaction of you cooking Indian food. I don't know about us cooking, but as I was watching Hot Star and watching the West Indies and India T20 match from December, there were so many like commercials that were like interrupting or whatnot, and one of them was to like an Iron Chef that they have, dude, and it was like, watch this now, and I was like, oh, really? Savannah loves cooking channels. We've watched all the Iron Chefs. She loves Beat Bobby Flay and all those. So that's something that she'll definitely watch with me. So I'm probably gonna give that a shot as well.
With my awesome cooking, whip up some Indian. My meals consist of pancakes with a mix and spaghetti. Throw the noodles in the bowl.
Plead the fifth on that one.
We want to go eat Indian food. We really do. Unfortunately, this whole lockdown just kind of put a cut to that for them.
Just a quick little brag for our channel. They appreciate our work and making the lockdown a little less stressful. Thank you so much, He-Man Shu. That is awesome for you to say. Hurts right here from Julia Bryce. What do you think about the fact that USA has the lowest score in an ODI match for cricket? That hurts. I'm not surprised. Someone had said in response to something like this earlier in a different video, they had said, well, it'd be like India playing baseball. Yeah, but USA actually has a cricket team. It's our own fault.
We'll step it up eventually, hopefully. Robert is going to be the best Batman. A lot of people have said that. A lot of people feel that way. Who is watching Tiger King after Gabe's review? Hopefully somebody is, because Tiger King is, you have to watch it. You know what's funny?
Look at this one.
Look at the chat. Okay, now I'll be back to the Tiger King comment in a minute, but this is hilarious. Gabe, bro, stop saying that was the best Batman. I got called from Nawaz Siddiqui threatening he will beat me up with both baseball and cricket bat with Martha written on it. Please. Sorry, man. I loved your performance. It was gritty. It was dark, and you were. I think I actually like the writing of it. The very first book, and I'm talking book, not comic book, but the very first novel I read that had nothing to do with school was Batman Dark Knight. No. I was probably like 13 at the time, so 13. But it was Batman's The Dark Knight Falls or something like that. This is where Bane breaks his back. Now, Batman has already been Batman for 10 plus years. He's lost a Robin, as you saw in BVS. He's already lost a Robin. So he's very jaded. His train of thought has really changed. You know, Batman still doesn't kill, but he's paralyzing people, you know what I mean? And then at the end of this one, he has his back broken. So I just like that portrayal of the old griddled Bruce Wayne, that he's no longer not, again, if you stay in it long enough, you see yourself become the villain or you die a martyr. And that I just love that. So, but anyway, going back to the comment for that Tiger King,
Martha on it. That's
you just good. Love it because you just love it because everybody agrees with you, but that's all right. That's all right. Tiger King. What I was saying was, you know, whenever they show America on television shows, for the most part, everything happens in New York or LA. Most TV shows take place in New York, LA. You know, most movies take place in New York, LA. Other than, of course, when they show Vegas. From time to time, they're going to show places like Atlanta and The Walking Dead. But there is so much Middle America, and there is so much that goes on that you're like, oh man, you know, this show just shows you the different side of America and some of the different colorful characters and people and stuff that goes on here. It's like a car crash. You cannot look away. You cannot not watch it. Okay, once you watch the first episode, you're like, oh man, I've got to watch this. I have to. It's insane. It's insane.
Is it like Redneck? Because I have not watched.
It is. Yes, it's hillbilly. It's the main character, the Tiger King himself, has a mullet, Jody. Okay, a mullet. Yes, and this wasn't back in 1989. This wasn't back. This was like in 2013, 2014, 2015. It's ridiculous. He's walking around with this flamboyant. I mean, he's a cross between. Think of the most hillbilly country singer you could think with the mullet, but then he's like a total diva. You know, he's got like some Liberace would wear. Okay, very bright, very colorful, and then to boot, he's got
Joe Dirt versus Elton John. I said, is he Joe Dirt versus Elton John?
If Joe Dirt and Elton John were somehow combined in a lab, that's exactly what it is. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. Let me just tell you this. This guy ran for president and then figured, no, I can't wait 4 years. Campaign wasn't going right. You look at your eyes. Yes, ran for president, then decided to run for governor of Oklahoma. Wait, it gets better. Jody, he got 19% of the vote. How does that happen? How does that happen? 19% of the vote. Now, that right there should just tell you there's a lot of supporters out there. I couldn't believe it.
We'll stay on the west side of this. We won't go to the middle.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? But anyway, that was my rant on that show. You eventually, I'm sure you guys will get to it. I know Nick has a lot on his watching stream, but it was funny. Somebody told me, hey, just watch the show. You can review it. And I think it might have been Mo. And then I watched one episode, and 6 hours later, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and Savannah turns around. She's like, you're still watching TV? It's that kind of show.
All right.
All right, so here's this comment. It says the first international cricket match was between USA and Canada. A little bit of love for our USA cricket team. I've seen this before, but I never really thought about, that must have been quite a while ago. And then it got me thinking of, ICC World Cup questions I had. So I'm pretty sure that the main World Cup, the one that India won in 83 and 2011, the overs match. Is there a World Cup for Test cricket? I'm assuming there is. And is there a World Cup for T20? I'm assuming there is. Let us know if there is that in. But looking at the list of winners for who has won the World Cup for the 50 over match, and it started in 1975. All the winners, I thought this would have a longer history than 1975, but the first two winners were the West Indies, and then India, then Australia, Pakistan, Australia 3 times in a row, and then India won in 2011, Australia in 2015, and England just won last year. The interesting thing, I'm a stats guy. I love numbers. I love that type of stuff. One interesting fact is that India was the first team to win the World Cup in front of their home nation. They were
just to cut you off.
Thank you. So she loves to do that.
Just got to correct him every now and then.
India was the first team to front of their hosting nation, which I think is super awesome. I don't know if that's ever happened in soccer World Cup. Whenever we had the Super Bowl here in the States, the team has won at their stadium. But after they won in their host nation cup, Australia won in front of their nation, and it looks like England won in front of their nation. Super interesting how India was the first one to break down the door on winning in front of your fans, and then it followed suit with Australia and with England. But someone Test Cricket World Cup, is that just because the Test cricket games are too long? Because that seems like a shame to me, because I know there's a lot of Test cricket fans out there.
I'm looking at a comment right now. Who's the biggest Friends fan among you guys? Oh, that's tough.
Me,
because everybody's a self-proclaimed.
Oh, we already done talking about cricket. He had to switch the change the lane.
No. I was just looking at that, but I like the comment below that. Are you guys completely understand cricket now? No, I do not. But having watched the game, like I said last night, or at least the first inning of the game, and then they didn't give me his bat at bat, I should say. I only saw India pitching. One of the things I was focusing on was the grips, and I was right, similar to baseball. Okay, they use different grips. Let me grab my ball. So I could see where they were grabbing this one right over here and pulling down on the seams. Other times, guys were holding it, and when they threw it, it was almost like a curveball to get it to do that spinning action. And Savannah was watching. She's like, why is this guy so far back? And he gets a running start. So they're coming and they're taking that big running start and throwing. But then some of the guys, when they're not really throwing for power, but they're to try to swing the ball, get away from them, they don't even really take a running start. So just the different approaches to it. I finally understand in that game, as a matter of fact, one of the outs was because one of West Indies' best players, he was protecting the wicket or standing right in front of the wicket, and it hit his knee pads. And Savannah's like, so if you hit the If they hit you on the knee pads, you're out. And I'm like, well, no, it's because he was protecting the wicket, and that's not a way you're supposed to be able to stand in front of the wicket and do it. I'm assuming that's what the announcers were saying, and they were like looking at it like because you could only protect the wicket using the cricket bat, to my understanding. So if you block the ball with your knee pad from hitting the wicket, you're out. Nick, you're a little bit more versed than I am. Is that correct?
Yeah. So say that. I was reading the comments. I can say that last question again.
So one of the outs that I saw recorded, one was ball got hit and they caught it in the air right behind them. I know that that's an out if you knock down the wicket, but if you're protecting the wicket and you miss the swing, but your knee pad stopped the ball from hitting the wicket because you're standing in front of it, you're out, right? That's why I was out. She was like,
before wicket, if they rule it that if these are the stumps right here and your leg is anywhere in front of that, and they say that the trajectory of the ball was going where it didn't hit your leg and it was going to hit one of those wickets, then they call that leg before wicket. Sometimes they'll say it's an out and they can review that and they find out, oh, wait, it wasn't an out. Sometimes they say it's not an out. They challenge it and they say, oh, yeah, you're right. It did. It would have hit the wicket. So the different ways you can get out is leg before wicket is being you're running and you're not to the wickets before they throw the ball at it. If you hit it a little bit and someone catches it, if you hit it in the air and someone catches it,
So that.
If you swing and you don't hit it and it doesn't hit the wickets and they catch it, then as far as I know, that's not an out. You just got lucky. If you miss it and it hits the wickets, then you're out. But yeah, they call it leg before wicket, then you're done.
Yeah. So I mean, again, do we understand it completely? Not yet, but it's competition. It's funny how we relate things to things we know. So the West Indies, right? They had like, I think it was like 49 for the first over or something like that, and then they got another out really quickly. And Savannah was like, why do they, when they're running back and forth, they got to put their bat and keep it on the ground passing the line? Is that like standing on first base? And I was like, yeah, kind of. You always want to relate it to something you know. That means you're safe. So you got to get there before the ball beats you. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just like disappointing because then it cut us off right when India finally gets out of the inning. I'm like, what? I don't get to see India bat, but you know, it is what it is. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. I have one person that says, please take my question, but I don't see what your question is. So let me know what your question is. But yeah, different intricacies of the game of cricket that last night I was a little bored. And so I went to our cricket video that we did. And it was something that me and Jody did. We reacted to this video that everyone said that was a horrible instructional video, but it was how to play cricket. And I watched it just to see like from that point. And man, I mean, I knew nothing. I was a babe. I had no idea what was going on. And they were saying all these different parts. I'm like, really? What? I was like, the ball can go behind. What little I knew. And I mentioned in the video, all I knew was from Ninja Turtles, you know? And so it's fun to see how much you have learned. And while watching that video, like, this guy is a complete moron. How do you not know some of these things? So it's nice to know that I've learned at least a few things here. But all right, so now we can talk about Friends.
Oh.
Jody, why don't you tell them the story of two of us?
It's fine, but you should find the person who put the comment and put it up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so story of Friends. I was working at this place where I had, and it was pretty close to where we lived. So I would come home every day for lunch and eat lunch. And Nick was home in the day unless he was at school because he worked at night as a server. He loved Friends, and my cousins loved Friends, and they always try to get me to watch Friends. And okay, don't judge. I thought it was like an old person's show. I was like, I'm good. And so when Nick and I got married, and he's like, he bought all the seasons on DVD. So he's like, we got to watch Friends. It's awesome. I was like, I was the biggest. I can admit
it never happened.
that I can be a butthead with certain things. I can be just a little bit stubborn for the person.
Yeah, just ask her. She'll tell you all about it.
Just kidding. But I was so mean. Like the first few times, like I moaned and complained during the entire episodes. But after like the first season, I really did enjoy it. And now we watch it all the time. And the other day, actually, That's annoying me. So I did because I couldn't do that.
He said, "What is that?"
It's from Ross.
It's
and they're like saying,
no, I know.
basically.
And he said, and they asked him, he said, "What is it?" He's like, "It's a way me and Monica came up of giving a finger without giving it." It's hilarious, dude.
Well, and it's so great because the episode he shows it, and they only show it the one time, is when they're all doing it. He takes it to the next level and shows him a different sign that he obviously made up. This guy, I love Ross so much because he's such a nerd like I am, and this guy can be sometimes. I love whenever he gets whiny, and then like Chandler's like, "Lisa, I didn't tell him about your bedwetting problem." He's like, "I trusted you, man." It's just this show is so awesome. I would argue that I'm the bigger fan. Even
Yes, you
with
are.
Gabe, he's wearing the Friends shirt right now.
No
Just
way.
because, I was obsessed with that show for like 12 or 13 years. Salmon skin roll. I was obsessed with that show for so long. I love that episode where she's talking about unagi. It's so great where he's hiding behind the drapes, and then he scares them, and he's like, while you were crying like a bunch of babies, kick my butt.
And then he goes, danger! He goes to self-defense. Okay, but if you want to attack a woman.
Yeah. What would you do next? Dude, get out of here.
Who is your favorite
you know what?
character? Click on that one.
Yeah.
Well, there's two people who said it. Friends character, Gabe.
My favorite Friends character. Oh, it's so tough, man. It's got to be between Ross and Chandler. They have some of the best lines in all the show. Like when Rachel and Ross have their slide back, and she writes him the 18-page letter, front and back, and he doesn't know what he was responding to. So when he reads it, he says, "I so did not," and then they're arguing, and she's like, "Well, just so you know, it doesn't happen to every guy. It's not that common, and it is a big deal." And Ross is storming out the door, and Chandler's like, "I knew it!" Like, that's probably one of my favorite scenes of all time. Going back to who's the bigger fan, though. We have a game that myself and Savannah's brother and his fiance play all the time with actual Friends game, bro. And I'm a huge fan. I can quote some episodes line by line. Nobody has ever beaten my brother-in-law's fiance's name is Blake. Nobody's ever beaten her. She can recite lines, and they ask you obscure questions in this game. Matter of fact, once the lockdown's over, we're going to have you guys over, and all three couples can play. But they ask you obscure questions like who was they ask you some easy like softball questions, but some harder questions like who was the guest episode in season 4 of the Thanksgiving episode, and you're like, what? Like, and they want their real names. Like, it's insane.
What was Jennifer Aniston's husband? Brad Pitt.
Well, that was like season 7.
Oh man, see, I already failed.
Yeah.
Some Friends games or like heads up game, and I was worse than I thought I was going to be. So I can understand if someone's that good, then they are my favorite Friends character. I would have. It always shifts, but I would have to say Ross because they really ruined Chandler's character. When he had his personal issues with the drugs and whatnot, he just wasn't as funny with the writing, and they turned him in such a they used to always make fun of him for being gay earlier on, but then they just really pushed it to the next level where he was super sensitive, or then he couldn't cry. I didn't like what they did with him. When he started falling in love with Rachel, I didn't like that whole storyline. They kind of ruined his character, but Ross's character had the longevity of just being so awesome. He had so many great lines. That character, the benefit of having Monica as a sister, so you had that sibling rivalry, and then the relationship with Jennifer Aniston's character, Rachel. That's why I think Ross is
You know what though? Monica is my third favorite.
Is she? Okay, actually, the question is: out of the Friends characters, who are we?
Who are we? Oh wow,
Yeah.
Nick is Ross for sure. Nick is absolutely Ross.
I'm not going to argue. I am Indiana Jones.
No. You know what? Nick's biggest character like Ross is? you know how they're like, well, sometimes it is, isn't it? And he's like, it's okay to speak with proper grammar, or he'll like correct you. So that's Nick for sure. Y-O-U-R is your. Why are you apostrophe R is you are.
Red Ross. Remember Red Ross? Oh, Red Ross.
Oh man. So Nick, I
All
would
right.
say for sure is Ross. Jody, man, that's tough because you have Monica traits. You have Monica traits for sure, but you also have
I would say
a few
Monica.
Rachel
I would
traits.
definitely
But I
say
would say
Monica.
Monica. I would say Monica for sure. And ooh, I don't know. You guys
And
tell me, who do
Monica's
you
a
think
great
I would
choice.
be?
You are definitely Joey. You are definitely Joey. You, if there, I mean, Joey's the guy that will go in the, he'll see like a bake down like on the table, and he'll pick it up and be like, okay, and then eat it because it's okay. He buys the chicken and eats all the skin and says, "You guys want it?" I mean,
Oh no,
but he's also so friendly that he bought Chandler the Best Buddies bracelet.
my favorite episode with Joey is the cheesecake episode. And at the end of the episode, when they're walking and he walks in and Chandler and Rachel are eating the cheesecake, he pulls it right out, no questions asked, and starts eating it. What are we having?
So what we eating?
Oh, this is
we got a super chat here from Yash for 100. Thanks, Yash. We appreciate that. It says hello, Jody. Wait, why don't you read this one?
Hello, Jody. Can you give us tips on how to I always start one and have a hard time to finish it. So the first thing that you have to do is you got to find a genre that you like. So you have to find out, what are you into? Do you like sports books? Do you like nonfiction? I'm a romance. You give me a romance and I'm in it for the long haul. I'll finish it in a day. And then once you find the genre you like, you're good at pretty much picking a book. So it's kind of hard. I would say that interesting books that most people tend to like are books like Harry Potter. They like the Narnia series. I personally don't like them. I'm a fantasy person. But I think that's really what it is. And once you get a good book, a book that you're into, you're no longer the book actually turns into a movie and you don't even realize you're reading anymore. And you're just visualizing everything in your mind that you actually get frustrated when you have to get pulled out of hates when I read because I get like, I ignore everybody. I ignore the world and I just read and read and read and read. And I was like, oh, it's dinner. I bring my book. I down, I read. I'm up till 3 a.m. reading. It's the only time I stay up late. The only time. So that's just really it. It's hard, especially as a teacher when we're trying to reading, is find the genres that they like so that they get involved in a book. And so I wish I could give you more answers. Really just find the genre that you like.
And sometimes it's find a book that you like. I got this Star Wars book a few years ago called Catalyst, and everyone kept saying it's fantastic and it gives you information. It's a great movie. And so I was so excited to check it out. And it took me literally like a year and a half to get through because there was just so much technical Star Wars jargon for me, Star Wars, than reading it. But with other books that I've read, there was a book this last summer. I read a few books this last summer, surprisingly. And one was a book that I've had into my classroom library. When I wasn't teaching in the classroom last year, I brought this stuff home. And it was a book about Percival, which is the knight, which is a character mentioned in Ready movie. And so it's like a 100-page book, nothing too crazy. And I read it in like one night because I was just so interested in it. And I didn't think I'd be into knight type books or whatever. Find that book. And then when you get that excitement for finishing that story, just keep with it. I also read The Little Prince last summer, a really famous book. And book, I couldn't put that one down because it was just so unique and so different and so weird about these planets where people just one person fits on it or whatever. So it's just about finding that. And sometimes it's a book you don't expect.
And I think that's a good point of saying like The Little Prince and all that, is that you don't always have to be reading these big books. I loan these like books, British literature out and stuff, and people keep giving it back to me. They're like, I couldn't get through it. Kafka gave it back to me. I couldn't get through it. Some easy read. So, and I honestly, I like reading. I don't know about you guys, but the 3rd grade, 4th grade books. I enjoy reading the I Survived, and I enjoy shot.
Well, sometimes
and,
it's just about giving that attention to it.
yeah.
Like our minds are in so many different places, especially me and Gabe, sports and movies and TV, where when you're in the classroom, you can't go anywhere else. And so once you actually sit down and you read it, even silly books like The Chocolate Touch or whatever,
Yeah.
like you're like, oh, this is actually a good book. I want to see how this finishes. And so sometimes it's just dedicated for a lot of us males to do.
I know 2 books that have stuck with me that are kind of like young adult books, like high school, is I don't know if you guys have read that. I read that in high school and fell in love with it. It's a movie, but it's a really good one. The Legend of Sturgis Baraha. You can try that. It's a Western.
Right there. I love that comment, RJ. You are the only person I know that is promoting my book besides me, so I appreciate that.
Oh,
I lost it.
click it again. It's right there. If Nick is Ross, does he teach in a British accent? I don't know, Nick.
Oh, I don't really have a really good British accent. I have no problem making fun of myself in front of the students because it really gets them going. I'm sure I've probably done it a few times, but not an entire class. Got himself in trouble and he just kept doing it. No.
My students will request, not this year, I didn't really do it this year, but last year all the time, they were an interest. So I had to do things to keep them focused, as Gabe and Nick know. But I would teach in British accent, Irish accent, whatever would get them going.
Oh man. Speaking of Irish, how Monica comes in there with Rachel at the end, and Monica has an Irish accent, and Rachel actually has an Indian accent, and Monica is like, "Top of the morning to you, Lottie." Ross is just mortified because
so good.
man, dude, it's hilarious. I'm telling you.
I feel like we need to watch. Somebody earlier had said The Office. I love The Office.
Oh my God.
It is like nickel. No, like I love it way more than Friends. I think Friends is hilarious. Like, this is like my jam. Like I have probably watched that series 20 times over. I love it. I love it so much.
It's a great series. It's watchable.
My favorite episode too is what, Gabe?
Oh, no. I was looking through the comments as you're reading. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Episode where Michael Scott leaves. It kills me because the show is just not as good without him. I love Michael Scott. I think Steve Carell is a fantastic actor, and he played that role so well. Appreciate so much how his character just left on his own terms. He had like a little moment with everybody, and he just quietly left. I don't know. I feel like if I were to have a job, I totally want to copy it and leave the way he did. Just silently exit out with like a nice little moment with everybody.
Well, I just love how in that episode, Michael Scott, he wants everyone to say how much they love him, and they never do. They sing this song to him in the last staff meeting, and he doesn't know what's happening. And a song about how many minutes he's been at work or seconds he's been at work, and there's this awesome part where he's like, "Something's happening," because he's been waiting for it. And it's just such a sweet moment.
It's a song based off of a play. We actually sang it when I was in high school, the year I took theater. I forget it, but how many days in a minute, something like that.
All right, this is a great question. Nick, if you could cast friends with Bollywood actors, the ones that you know, who would you choose? Because I don't know a lot of them, and Gabe, you can chime in too, and Jody and whatnot, because I don't know a lot of them, for some reason, right away, I think of Akshay Kumar. He's more of a serious type guy. He was in the movie Baby that we watched, and Kasari, and Friends is a more serious character, but he can be silly, and I can see Akshay being silly because I know earlier in his career he was in a lot of sillier type films. So I would say Akshay Kumar as Ross. And I'm not trying to stay into this whole cop universe thing, but I would say Ranveer Singh. I love myself some Ranveer Singh, and just in that trailer for Suryavanshi, play that comedic role so well and that silly role so well. He's so diverse and with his skills.
Who's the guy who plays PK?
Oh, Amir Khan.
Well, he's Joey. If Phoebe was a male, he could play Phoebe.
Okay, so maybe Amir Khan for Joey or Chandler, because he would be fantastic.
He's super funny,
He's got so many skills. He can play any of those characters. So yeah, maybe Ranveer Singh would be like the understudy to Amir Khan. Who do you think for Chandler, Gabe? I'm having a hard time placing someone for Chandler.
I was thinking Amir Khan for Chandler because he's smart, but he can also be funny. And he's got like a little sarcastic humor like he had in Three Idiots. So I was thinking Amir Khan. But as far as the female characters, man, Topsy for sure is Rachel. You know what I mean? She's pretty, but she's also kind of funny. She's got that little witty attitude. So I would say Topsy.
I would love to see her in a Monica role, though. I would love to see Topsy in a Monica role. That would be fantastic because I believe that she has the chops to do it. But you're right, the Rachel character. That's a good call. I could see, honestly, maybe Kareena Kapoor. I think I'm saying that name wrong. The female lead in Three Idiots. I could see her as a Monica character.
Ben Affleck just said that too. That I just scroll down to the comments since we weren't looking at
I love it. Ben Affleck, me and you on the same wavelength. I swear I did not even look at that comment.
No,
Saif Ali. I'm not sure about that one. But again, I know him from Sacred Games. I don't know him from Dilshat High or from other movies. So maybe 100% he'd be great. Maybe even for a Ross, our man Akshay Khurana from Section 375. He might be a good because he's definitely got the acting chops. I know he was in different types of roles in his career. Maybe even a Shah Rukh Khan would be. That would actually be a good one because he can play that stoic character, but he also has a great, charming personality. So many for the male characters. What about for a Phoebe? Phoebe, more of like
Phoebe's
a zany,
tough,
wacky type.
Phoebe is, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anyone in any of the movies we've watched that can pull that role off. You know, she's zany. She's like a hippie. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm stuck there. Maybe they could tell us in the comments unless you got a good suggestion.
I'm gonna keep thinking about that one. How about this question, Gabe? This one's come up. Oops, sorry, quite a bit. Have we watched the Stranger Things?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Nick's a big fan, and you know, our school is elementary school, so we have a lot of fun with the kids. For Halloween, we all the grade levels come in as dressed as a theme or whatnot. And you know, when Nick was in 4th grade, we were superheroes one time. I came in as a Macho Man Randy Savage one year. I'm a wrestling fan, but this last year, all the specialists and Nick came in as the Stranger Things characters, and that was super cool. And you know, the kids got a kick out of it. So yeah, we're definitely Stranger Things fans. Still haven't made it all the way through the last season, but
what?
Dude, you gotta
bro,
watch
I'm
it.
telling you, I know. I have
story song part.
Kick him out.
Well, he's already got such a small space right here. I feel bad for him.
I know. I'm sorry, Gabe.
And just so you guys know,
no, it's all good.
It's either this format or it's this format, and then we're like really.
Oh, we can be like close and
we can be all nice and cozy.
Just do that. We'll be cozy.
We'll try it out. I'm not sure. Try to banish him slowly but surely.
No. You guys
really
are
fast.
tight over there. You're good.
Nick started watching Stranger Things, and he was watching it when to sleep, but I got sucked in with the love story.
Well, and you know how she is with
surprise.
scary stuff, so I'm surprised she laughed.
Oh my gosh, there were so many moments that I did not watch. Like I just closed my eyes and it's done. But I just fell in love with the romance in season 1.
We got a super chat,
and I've always
been
a Winona Ryder fan.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I've always been a Winona Ryder fan.
Oh yeah, me too. Even since I was a little kid. Scissorhands. So Arjit here gave us 40. Thank you so much, Arjit. Said Salman Khan played Joey in Andez Apna. Now I did react. You can definitely see that as well. Salman Khan definitely has a lot of skill, so I can see him as a Joey. A lot of people are saying that Renat would be a great Phoebe, and I recognize that name. I'm not sure where I recognize that name from, but there's been a few people that have mentioned that, so I'm and go with that. So that
I love Abby's comment. I only read mathematics textbooks. They suck the soul out of me.
So out of his life.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, trust me. I've been there, done that.
Okay, Gabe, how old are you? 50? I can't remember.
Stop, he's 21.
Oh, Oh.
I'm on the back end, the very back end of my 30s. I'm 39. I turned 40 in July.
Woo.
Happy early birthday.
His cane is coming in just a few weeks.
My kids keep me young.
I'm 36, and Jody is
32. I'm the baby.
daughter. She's not my daughter. She's only 4
Ew,
years younger.
no. When we
Especially
go
when he gets.
Go ahead, Gabe.
Especially when Nick gets the like, especially during like No Shave November, Nick grows out the full Fu Manchu beard, man, and then he looks a lot older than he is. Whenever he shaves, he looks young, but whenever he keeps the whole full beard, man, I'd love to see him not cut the thing for like a year, man. It'd be awesome, glorious. I know you probably wouldn't love it, but he could probably grow a glorious beard.
I don't mind. I tell him keep it going. Let's see what happens, but you never know. But all I know is like when our oldest is in almost as tall as I am. So like when we're walking through like the store, people will give me like kind of interesting looks with him. Like, what's the relationship like your son or like sister brother kind of thing? But once Nick's there, he ages me. Even our principal said, "Yeah, Nick ages you, Jody."
Oh,
It's all good.
definitely.
So sorry.
Who
All I
wins
know
in a
is
fight?
I have the prize.
Did you see that? Who wins in a fight? Brightburn versus Superman, and Shazam versus Batman. I love the fact that somebody even mentioned Brightburn because, dude, that movie is such a sleeper and people do not give it the credit it deserves. I'm telling you, that movie's awesome. I was so mad when I went to the movie theater. I went to the Red Rock movie theater. Nick, I'd never had this experience. Literally, there were 3 people in the movie theater. There were more people in the movie theater when I went to go see which is the one I just recently went to go see? Bahubali 3, not Bahubali 3. Boggy 3. There were more people to see Boggy 3 than Brightburn. Brightburn literally had 3 people in the movie theater. It was like the eeriest thing, man. Nobody gave that movie any love. And it wasn't like Boggy 3 happened recently, so people had already started social distancing. Like one of the families that were in there actually had masks on already at the movie theater. There was nothing going on when Brightburn came out. I don't get it. Nobody gave that movie any love, and it's fabulous. But to answer the question, come on, Superman beats Brightburn, period. Brightburn's a kid. He doesn't know how to use his powers, yet he's still learning.
But again, let's go back to our dark side conversation. Brightburn has no problem using the dark side for his fight. But I mean, now we saw Man of Steel. We saw Superman, spoiler alert, kill someone in that movie. So
yeah,
you're probably right. Henry Cavill.
General Zod's neck. Ooh, that was awesome scene. And then Shazam versus Batman. As much as I love Batman, and I think Batman would figure out how to use the Shazam word and change him back into a kid and then just demolish all of them, because Batman's just that smart. He's got a contingency plan for everybody in the Justice League. Still my favorite comic book adaptation of not live animated, but an animated series. They had that on DC Universe. I think it's called the Judas Plan. I can't remember, but Batman's contingency plan for everybody in the Justice League. That's how smart he is, bro. He's gonna take people down. So, but man, Shazam's gone toe to toe with Superman, bro. But you know what?
Yeah, but the
Batman
Shazam we got, the Zachary Levi Shazam we got, buddy, right? I mean, he's a kid. He doesn't know what he's doing yet. But if he got in a fight with Batman, you know what's going to happen is and then he's going to mention Martha, and he'll be good to go.
Oh, oh man, they'll never live it down.
This question was asking at first who would win a fight between me and you. And I could easily say Gabe would win that hands down. He used to be a prize fighter. I never was, besides me, Mike Tyson TKO. So I have no problem admitting that he would beat me down. So that's why
I still have sneaky baby hook. You know what I mean? Throw the shoulder and pop, real quick. But
he would knock me out in 2 seconds. No way.
It's funny. I had Alex in karate classes because we were actually trying to get him to calm down. It's my younger son, and you know Alex. And then that didn't work. He got very aggressive, especially at school when he was in first grade. He had his first fight. You gotta love it. Got pulled into the principal's office. Your first grader had a fight at the monkey bars, and you know Alex. Alex was like, "Well, Dad, they were being bullies, and they were on the monkey bars." So I gave him two choices: they could either leave or they could talk to my fists. Jody's laughing because he's in Jody's class. You totally see Alex saying that, and he was banging out. And Savannah just said, "Yeah, he's your son. He's your son." I got a punching bag still in my garage. I teach all my kids, just the basics. Teach my daughter the basics in case some dude ever tries to get too funny with her. And yeah, but Alex would probably be the only one in this house that, if he wants to, will take up to it. I doubt it though, because Savannah would kill me. She's not gonna allow it.
Yeah, the cool thing about Gabe is with boxing and whatnot, he never uses that in any kind of bragging way or any kind of way to get what he wants. Never once has.
He told me if I didn't give his son straight A's, he was going to use some of those moves on me. What are you talking about?
Never.
Just kidding.
No, never.
Just to be honest, just serious for a second. I mean, he never. If it was me, if I used to be a boxer, I would have stared down some of my friends and they didn't give me what I wanted and used. He never even would close come to that. I've never seen him even mad. Well, I've seen him mad, but never mad in a way where he says, "I'm going to hit someone." I mean, nicest guy for someone who has those kind of skills in his arsenal. And it's truly commendable, because if it was me, I would use it all the time for leverage, my friend.
Bro,
really?
You know what's funny?
Not in marriage.
Not
in marriage. Acquaintance.
Biggest time, I remember I was in high school and I ended up getting into a fight and got into trouble because I had my amateur license at the time, and I ended up getting suspended for 6 months, something like that. And so many people were mad at me. And one of my coaches were like, "Listen, you learn how to fight so you don't have to. Okay." Most people, especially people that are afraid, people that don't know how to handle themselves, they're going to be very aggressive. It's like the little dog that barks, you know what I mean? So they're always the first to want to throw down or whatever. But once you know how to fight, you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the mentality behind it. And you try to be very reserved so that you don't hurt somebody or you don't hurt yourself. One of the worst injuries actually I suffered. In a street fight, I hit a dude and I broke my I forget what this bone here is called or whatever. So especially in a street fight, you hit somebody, you hit them hard enough, you're gonna even hurt yourself. So I definitely try to avoid those confrontations, and that's just most fighters, actually, if you catch them outside of the ring, they spend so much time or have spent so much time fighting that they're just very, very calm and docile people. And, for the most part, unless they're roided up or whatever, it's like, listen, I'd rather walk away from the situation because I don't want to deal with the ramifications afterwards. You know what I mean? And, yeah, that's just, I don't know. That's just how it is. You always learn that.
Question. Are you a southpaw? Because you just mentioned you hit him with your left hand and you broke that bone, or you just use both pretty good?
No. I'm a traditional righty, but most people, especially when you fight, they are expecting, you look at the shoulders. You actually don't look at the hands. They come at you too quickly. So you're looking at their shoulders to see, where it's coming from. So a lot of times you see people wind up, especially those big wide punches. That's why you want it to be quick. So my favorite punch was the baby hook because it's short, it's quick, and you don't have to hit somebody hard to knock them out. Like if you just right now close your jaw and put your hand right here to your chin, just that little feeling right there. Imagine if somebody catches you, you're gonna drop them. You don't have to hit them hard. You just gotta hit them in the right place. So, for me, it was always sneaky. Yeah, women can easily drop guys. I hate when people be like, "Oh, that wouldn't happen." And when they watch movies where the slow movement, if a woman hits you in the right place, she's gonna drop. I saw Layla Ali at Top Rank. This is I was actually rehabbing from an injury or whatnot, and she was in there sparring with men, bro, and laying people out. Sparring. All right. Now she's a big girl. She was bigger than me, dude. At the time, she's close to 6 foot, and she was probably maybe a $170, $165, $170. But with her leverage, easily, bro, a woman could drop a dude, especially if you hit him in the right place and quickly. So that's why I throw it, because it's the quickest punch to throw for me any which way, and they don't see it coming because it's from the left hand. Everybody's always worried about the right because of your stance. You know what I mean? I guess that's the easiest way to answer it. Somebody said share a story of any of your fighting match experience. Probably the one person I have fought as an amateur, Jesse Brinkley. Me and him actually became friends, and oh man, it's an embarrassing story, but those are always the ones you remember. And he was super slow, heavy footed. Jesse's from Arizona. He actually made it on the show The Contender with The Contender. Who was running The Contender? Was that Sylvester Stallone that was running? No, Oscar De La Hoya was running The Contender, the boxing show. I don't know if you remember that too long ago, whatever. And they were taking like real prize fights.
Wasn't it Sugar Ray?
I might have been Sugar Ray that was running it. Leonard. Sugar Ray
love
Leonard.
that. I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons. That was great.
So the guy with the big scorpion tattoo, Jesse Brinkley. Man, I gotta see if I can find some pictures of us. But anyway, dude, as an amateur or whatnot, we were both coming out of the same gym or whatever. And dude, I was working. This is when I was younger, lighter. I was worrying about pop, pop, pop with the jab because I was always really, really fast. And you were like, all right, 3rd round coming up, you're done, dance or whatever. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna drop him. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's telling me, bro, just win the round, you're good. No. That probably got to me. I'm gonna drop him. So I have him in the corner and I'm throwing. And then here's the thing. You always need to understand when you try to hurt somebody or knock them out, you're exposing yourself to getting hit. That's why Floyd Mayweather Jr. is probably one of the best fighters of all time because he was so technical. It's hard to get a clean hit on him. It's not that he's so strong. He's just really, really good for you to catch a clean shot. You throw a shot at him, he rolls with it. You're hitting his elbow more than you're hitting his face or his shoulder. You know what I mean? Really good. So I threw an overhand right, and literally, next thing I know, they're picking me off the ground. So I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I'm more embarrassed and everything. And they're like, no, dude, you're done. You're leaking. What? You're leaking. Bro, they pulled out my mouthpiece. These two teeth here are fake because he knocked them out from the root, bro. Laid me out, bro. And I had never seen a whole tooth come out from the root, but they're super long. Like a tooth when it's knocked out of the root, it's super long. But that's how strong this guy was. And on the show The Contender, if you ever watch any of Jesse's fights on The Contender, it was the same thing, bro. He was slow. People were tearing him up early on. But, bro, this guy had cement in both hands. And I remember rooting for him on the show, and I'm like, we're in Vegas. So I was like, yeah, Jesse's going to win this fight. And, I put a little side wagers, and people were like, oh, no, he's too slow. He's just got to hit you once. This guy was the epitome of Rocky. When he hit you, it hurt, bro. Even if you blocked, it hurt. And this guy had cement in his hands. So after that time, I learned, no, use your speed, take the rounds. Don't go toe-to-toe, bro. But I'm sorry to dominate so much time. I was just interested when somebody asked that question. I was like, yeah, that's probably my best story, man. But I'm telling you, man, it didn't even hurt. That's one thing. When you get knocked out, it doesn't hurt. You don't feel it because it's so quick. But bro, it hurt.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting because I love boxing, The Contender, all that kind of stuff. Never did it, obviously. I was too scared when I was a kid to even try to think about it. So that stuff is super interesting. I still have never seen or a video of fighter Gabe here, and I'm kind of mad about that. I want to see him in his
You know what's prime. Funny? Savannah has had an old one because this is again I'm 40. You know what I mean? So, but we have a few old pictures, and the kids on the Amazon. You know how you have the pictures onto the Amazon or whatever. She was like, they're like, who is that? It's like, that's your father. And I was just like, but he looks so thin. I was like, yeah, I was boxing at the time. I had my trunks on or whatever. It's like the one picture that she had on there. And I was like, you guys are horrible. Like, this will happen to you. You will get older. You'll get heavier. You're going to lose your hair. You have my genes in it. So deal with it. But
I want to share that with me. I got to see. I've never seen one before. I've got to see what it looks like.
I'll try to get it. They do it
right here. Few questions about WWE because I guess WrestleMania is tonight, which I don't really agree with. I know they're doing it in the empty arena and they're still having their match. Someone right here, is it real or fake? Obviously, it's fake. It's entertainment. World Wrestling Entertainment used to be World Wrestling Federation. It's a scripted show. Maybe not every single move. They work together. What are we going to do? How are we going to work it? But they know who's going to put someone over. When they say put someone going to win. And so it's definitely fake. It's definitely scripted, and they don't claim to be real. And sometimes I get frustrated with people when they say, "Oh, but it's fake." No, it's fake. That's why I watch it. It's a soap opera. It's a show. It's entertainment. Can you see what these guys do? They jump 30 feet in the air on concrete with a little mat. That thing. Not all of it's fake, but the storylines are fake. Am I going to watch WrestleMania tonight? Probably not. I don't have the app anymore. I don't see myself buying the app just to watch WrestleMania. But I'm hoping that it'll get aired again on ESPN so I can watch it in a few days. But I do like WrestleMania. It's the biggest show of the year. It's the biggest. They always have surprises and this or that. I'm just not sure how Vince McMahon has convinced all these wrestlers to go out there, stand toe-to-toe with each other, be touching when you don't know if that person has the virus or not. I think it's crazy, but obviously he doesn't want to miss out on that money. So what's your take on that whole thing?
My take is I know it's fake. I know it's been fake for the longest time. Don't care. Love it. Love some of the characters. Some of my favorite characters of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man Randy Savage. But as a former athlete, I'll tell you, even during sparring matches where, for instance, you got headgear on, they got headgear on. I'm going back to my boxing days. Bro, hits hurt regardless. So if a guy's doing a suplex, it's gonna hurt. Like you said, if you're doing a Macho Man's move off the top rope, elbow, that hurts. Okay, that so you got to appreciate their athleticism. And if you watch these documentary series about wrestling, that's why a lot of them get addicted to painkillers, and so many wrestlers have passed at an early age because between the steroids they do to get bulked up and then all these steroids they do just to manage the pain, it's insane. An average fight, okay, and I was in the amateur circuit, okay, you go 3 rounds, then you go 6 rounds, 8 rounds, then eventually 10 and 12 rounds, okay, in boxing. On average, even as an amateur, bro, you're only fighting every month, every other month. These guys perform every single week. I don't care if it's scripted or not. Your body's not meant to take that kind of punishment. Okay, it every single week, sometimes twice a week. That's insane, scripted or not. And same thing like in football. You see these guys. It takes them a week to recover from taking those hits, bro. It's impressive what they do, and I think that. I knew that's why Steve Austin became one of my favorite wrestlers. He was rehabbing because he had gotten power drived and they almost broke his neck. And then his whole rehab story, I got really, really into that. But, for me, I still enjoy watching it. I'm not going to pay for the pay-per-view and watch it. I don't even agree with them doing it. I think that right now, Vince McMahon cannot guarantee anybody doesn't have it because there's people that are asymptomatic that don't even show that they have the virus. Could you imagine if one of those guys did get sick and then contract, to everybody? He's risking a lawsuit. And I just think it's disrespectful to everybody that is quarantined and people who have lost loved ones. So I'm not going to support it. That's just my opinion, though. Do I watch MMA? Yes, I do. No, somebody says, Gabe, do you watch MMA? Yes, I do. And my take on MMA is those guys are nuts.
Sorry, we have a lag, so it's kind of hard to catch up. I just want to ask a quick question. Who is the GOAT in wrestling of all time? Now, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Who do you think is the greatest wrestler of all time? For me, I would say popular with Hulk Hogan. There was nothing like Hulkamania. There was nothing like being a part of Hulkamania. As far as a technical wrestler, he was not the best. I mean, his big move was a leg or a boot to the face, but he knew how to interact with the audience. He knew how to feed off of them. My favorite, and I would put him on Mount Rushmore for all the best wrestlers, is the Macho Man Randy Savage. I loved the Macho Man as a kid. I don't know why I connected with him so much. Storyline, maybe it was because he turned bad for a little while. He was a heel for a little while, but I just love the Macho Man. He was such a regular time. He wasn't roided out. Then he did roid out and he got super huge, but for the longest time he was just a naturally strong guy. Maybe he did do steroids. I watched him actually, which is really good on ESPN. And he started off as a minor league baseball player, and he was super skinny, super skinny, and he had about how weak he looked. And so once baseball wasn't working out, he started working out, and maybe he did do some steroids to get even to the shape because he was super small, but he had this huge complex about being macho and about not losing his hair. When he started losing his hair, he was so worried about. He called himself the Macho Man, but he went from someone you wouldn't expect to the person that was the world champion and had to go against Hulk when they each other. But his move going to the top rope and that elbow drop and the things that he did, his little his little characteristics, he was fantastic. And then when you find out more about his story, he was obsessed with the storyline and about building up that tension for like a year. When he went to WCW, with him and Diamond Dallas Page and with other wrestlers, and that stuff I thought was really impressive. But I would put him up there because of what he represented was and how technical he was and how much he worked on his craft.
Right.
But yeah.
Me personally, my favorite is the Macho Man Randy Savage. You know that. But the GOAT, and anyone who's a big wrestling fan will say it, most wrestlers admit it, and RIP is Chris Benoit, bro. Chris Benoit was the best technical wrestler there was. Everybody would say, and it's because he had the experience of not just quote unquote fake wrestling, but he actually wrestled in high school and he went to China and Japan. Sorry, he wrestled in Japan, like real wrestling. So this dude, like if you watch Chris Benoit match, technical wrestlers, bro, nobody can mess with him. And he was a smaller dude. Technically, he was clean with it, bro.
I watched a lot of his matches. I was a huge fan of the Crippler Crossface, of the wrestler when he was in WCW. He was awesome. And he was, he didn't have much personality, but he would go for the top rope and whatnot. Realizing what he did to his family and to himself, I can't even think about him anymore. He's not even in my mind. He was a good technical, yes, but I would say maybe you might have to put at the top of the top, in my opinion, as far as technical wrestling, as far as showmanship, as far as high flying and as everything, you'd have to put Shawn Michaels as one of the best, because this guy, again, he was in the tag team, the Rockets, Corey Jannetty. He went from a guy that no one really cared about too much to branching out on his own and making his own brand and forming the clique inside the locker room. He was calling the shots. And he won the world championship, and he had some great beefs with different people. He brought in Diesel, for crying out loud. Shawn Michaels, the best of all time.
Well, he definitely had one of the biggest impacts, because I think wrestling at its biggest height was when we had the Generation X, okay? Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, China. That was one of the best storylines in all wrestling. That, and in WCW, I love the Wolfpack, all right? Oh, man, the Wolfpack was awesome. And I think those were the best, that's really when wrestling was at its largest popularity. I was just talking about the best technical wrestlers, and having watched the documentary on Chris Benoit, everybody on there to a man would say, oh no, like seriously, if they were like wrestling, it would be Kurt Angle. Now, Kurt Angle won, gold in the Olympics. This guy was an Olympic wrestler. Kurt Angle was a monster. And at the World
Championships before that, yeah.
But people just did not like him. He was not a likable person, but he could wrestle his butt off. The kid was amazing. And you know who also was? Well, he's not the GOAT because he wasn't in wrestling that long, but he made a short wrestling debut. We're talking about MMA. Ken Shamrock was in wrestling, and so was what was that other wrestler that Ken Shamrock fought that was also an Olympic champion? Dan Henderson. So there've been some real legit wrestlers. I would still say that it's tough, but yeah, I'm gonna go with my favorite is The Rock. The Rock, it's so funny, man, because he went from being a failed football player. Okay, his dad was a wrestler, but he went from being kind of like Macho Man Randy Savage. He didn't want to wrestle. His dad was a wrestler. He knew it was fake. He wanted to compete. He wanted to play football. Ended up getting hurt. Who took his position, by the way?
Who took his?
Have you ever seen that? Warren Sapp took his position in college. For Florida. Warren Sapp took his position.
Wow.
But then he became a wrestler. And what The Rock did was what Randy Macho Man Savage did, what Ric Flair did. Their personality was so large, it was larger than life. And he is the best entertainer of all time as far as wrestling is concerned.
Best
Finally,
promos.
The Rock has come back to wherever it was. And even when he was bad, the people's elbow went to the corporate elbow or the business elbow. I forgot what it was. It was the dumbest move ever, but I enjoyed watching it.
He was so good at marketing himself. I could watch his verbal assault. There's different videos on YouTube constantly. You're right. The Rock, and not just that, but The Rock started off as, I love his story. So one of my favorite stories about him, he was with his dad somewhere in public. His dad went inside a store to get something. He was outside the car, and there was like these 3 or 4 teenage kids that knew him from school or whatever, and these 3 or 4 kids who were older than him were picking on him and whatnot. And someone's telling his dad in the store, hey, those kids are bugging with your son. And he's like, I'm not worried about it. He can take care of himself. No joke. He was this huge 12 or 13-year-old. He took out all 4 guys. And his dad had no doubt because this guy was he was a monster, man amongst kids.
Right.
Story. But he started off, they tried to make him like this generational fan favorite. He came out all hyped up or whatever. And the fans hate him. They saw right through it. They said, nothing, so we're going to boo you. And then he went to the Nation of Domination and turned heel. And he was so awesome when he was heel. And then he had that issue for Farouk, and they kicked out. I love his whole storyline, but eventually the greatest thing about The Rock is when he was a heel and people they truly hated him, would say the millions and millions, and they'd all boo him. But eventually he got so popular as a heel that when he would say the millions, agree with them, the millions, they would start cheering Rocky, and you can see on his face like they're actually responding to this. And then he was the promoter of all time in sports. The Rock was fantastic. I mean, you can't say enough about the guy.
I love the last comment, okay, from Neferati Next at 9:59. Okay, WWE, is it fake or real? The Rock, it doesn't matter if it's fake or real.
He gets so many guys with that. One of the best videos to watch is Y2J debut, because he goes toe-to-toe in a verbal assault with The Rock. And I mean, if you haven't seen it, you guys have got to check it out. It's on YouTube, or it's on if you have the app. It's one of the best moments of all time, just hands down.
We should do the CGI one. Change the subject.
All right. So she said got about 8 minutes left before we're gonna cap off this live stream. What's the worst and best CGI you have seen in a movie?
Oh man, I'll let you go first, but I've got a ton of them. I got a ton of them. CGI is ruining movies. People act like they don't have to act because their movie has CGI in it. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead, since you already got some, because I got to think about it.
Okay, well, I saw that people mentioned the Scorpion King, and yes, the Scorpion King was horrible as far as CGI was concerned. You're like, what is going on with The Rock when they try to make him the actual Scorpion King? That was horrible, but it was a check. You know what I mean? I get it. For The Rock, it was a check. And I'm like, okay. But more recently, okay, that's why I'm like, Will Smith is one of these guys, man. You got to love him and hate him. I went and saw, what's the name of it again, Nick?
Gemini
Man. And the de-aging technology on there, his face looks so weird. And I'm like, this was what everybody was talking about. The technology is amazing. They made him younger. The teeth look all fake. It looked. I'm sorry?
I was just saying, I thought the CGI was really good, actually.
I did not enjoy it. And I say that the de-aging technology on Netflix's movie was even better. And this is Netflix that did the de-aging technology for Irishman. I'm like, what is going on with his teeth? maybe because I paid an extra $5 or whatever because I wanted to go watch it and they weren't showing it. Except, for on 165 screen, whatever it is, screen, like the highest definition you can get in Vegas. So there's only one movie theater you could watch in it. So I went to go see it at this movie theater and I was like, what's so special about this? This is not, to me, I think it was they overblew it. And maybe it's because I went in with such high expectations, but you know how I feel about Gemini Man. Oh, go ahead. What's yours?
And it's not really fair because I feel like these two movies actually pioneered CGI in movies. But when you're the first ones to do it, so the first one is the prequel Star Wars, right? The CGI, the VFX in that is so bad. It's so obviously a green screen, especially in Phantom Menace and Attack. But George Lucas was the first, in my opinion, to really push that technology. And look what we have today. I think you got to thank George Lucas and his team for pushing that forward, but it doesn't hold up. The second one is a movie I absolutely love called Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy is such a great movie. CGI for Jeff Bridges' character when he plays I can't remember the guy's character's name, and Jeff Bridges when he's younger. It's so bad, but that was the first movie I ever where they did the whole de-aging technology and they went full CGI on it, and it looks really bad, but it's the first film I saw that's gone through the years. You mentioned Gemini Man, you mentioned Irishman, but there's been some times where it looked really good, like Brad Pitt and Benjamin Button. That was fantastic when he looked like he was 18 or 19. But those are my two, even though I like Tron Legacy a lot. You got to give him credit for taking that first step.
Definitely.
So Disney's Lion King was awful with the CGI. I mean, this is Disney. Like Disney. I think that one CGI because they can do so much better. But
you know what, Jody? You've won this debate. Nick, we have to bow down because I was so excited for the Lion King and they absolutely bombed, bro. What was up with those lions? Oh man, like the lips looked so weird when they were talking and the animals look weird. And you know what? Oh, I was so mad. Beyonce, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? You know what? I can't even say she did it for the check. Your husband and you are worth like $1 billion. How much money do you need? What are you doing? What are you doing, Beyonce?
Probably more.
Well, and I think the fact that there was no chemistry whatsoever, like, had a huge part too. But we haven't talked about best CGI. I think Avatar. That's almost like everything. Like they created an entire world.
So I went into this live stream. I'm glad she mentioned that. I went into this live stream wanting to talk about Avatar because there's this whole reopen the theaters, which they stopped that plan. They were going to put Avatar and Endgame back in the theaters, and there was this whole question: is Avatar going to retake the leak? Because they're only $10 million behind. And I am one, and it seems like I'm one of the few, which is crazy because Avatar was the #1 box office seller for the longest time. It seems like I'm one of the few people that actually still love that movie. Don't tell me they stole storylines or this or that. That movie is fantastic. I get to feel so many different parts of that movie. Sam Worthington's one of my favorite little known movie. I love Avatar. I can't wait for the sequels to come out. But yes, the CGI. I mean, James Cameron, say what you want to say about him. This guy knows how to do CGI ahead of his time, and the visuals, just like George Lucas's Avatar. I love Avatar. I love it.
I like Julia Bryce's question: most boring Indian movie you've ever seen. Nick and I are blatantly honest, and I know he's given some poor reviews to a few movies. I gave one to a movie that people absolutely love with Brophy, but I'm sorry, I just do not like the rom-coms, and it's just one of those situations where we have our opinions, but those lovey-dovey, and I can't get into it. So that's just me personally.
Don't knock the romance.
I know. Look,
romance. Seriously, I'll pull my box and move on.
Fired up. Whoa. Calm down. How about you, Nick? What was your I know Jody's anything with action. Probably when you made her watch Boggy one. Anything with action. If it was just action, she was like
being cut off, action, chop off the head. That's all me. Throw out those ghosts popping out of the dark. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I in mind because I'm going to lose a bunch of fans instantly. But I've got to say, SWATUS was probably my most boring movie I saw. I liked it, and I respect the performance in it, and I understand that it was telling a simple story of going back to the country and going back to your roots and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it was boring. Indian, so maybe the cultural thing was missed on me, but they're gonna hate me. They're gonna all unsubscribe right now, but I got to be honest, as always, even to my own detriment. Now let's do some running down out of time. Let's do some real quick hitters. Real quick, this question: who's your favorite cricket player? I'm going to start off. I don't have one yet. We're still learning about the players, and it's not favorite here and there. But I did like a lot of the players that I learned about on the test because you learn about those players. But I don't have one yet.
What's the bowler? The Australian guy, man, that just destroyed. This vicious. Reminds me of the big unit.
Mitchell Johnson.
Dude, I love pitching. Bowling and pitching are so close together. And actually, having watched a game now and understanding how difficult bowling is, yes, Mitchell Johnson is probably my favorite. I love intimidating bowlers or pitchers, guys that just throw rocks. Hey, what's your review on Rocky Hansom's last fight scene? Watch our reaction to it. That is probably the best reaction ever. Nick had to do some creative editing because there was some, but my son, who's in high school, had to show it to his friends. Like, yo, my dad did a reaction on this fight scene. You have to see it. That is probably one of the best fight scenes that I've ever seen. Violent, gruesome. Oh, it's like awesome.
If I did it again, I wouldn't have edited it at all. When we were early in our channel, we had a lot of students that were watching our videos, even though we didn't really want them to. And so I was so conscious of seeing all that violence on that reaction. Now that we are more into our audience that we have now, if I did it again, I wouldn't have put those emojis in there. But I was just so nervous that I feel like it did kind of ruin the reaction. That fight scene was awesome. Another quick one. What about favorite Disney movie? Joe, you want to start us off?
Beauty and the Beast. She's a reader. Gotta love a reader. Gotta love the Beast library. Oh my gosh.
The music
Dream
is
library.
too.
But I love the fact that she and the Beast fall in love and on the handsome, wonderful Prince Charming, but that, they actually really get to know each other.
Nick?
What about you, Gabe?
I tell everybody it's Aladdin, but Savannah and I both know it's the Little Mermaid. Don't ask any more questions.
I love it.
My favorite is the original, not the remake, Lion King. I will till the day I die. That'll be one of my favorite all-time movies. My favorite animated film, definitely favorite Disney film, is The Lion King. All right,
rank these.
So we're go ahead.
We got to do that one. Rank the movies. Godfather's got to be number one. Number two has got to be Goodfellas, Scarface, Heat, and I've never seen to this day Taxi Driver. A little bit before my time, and maybe that's something we'll do and make a video on it. I've never seen Taxi Driver. Nick?
All right, so I have seen all those but Scarface. I know, sacrilege. I have not seen Scarface, so I can't add it into my list. Eat for a long time, but that would be my least favorite one. I was bored the entire time I watched it, but I was like 15 years old. I would put Godfather number one. I would put Taxi Driver number two, and then Goodfellas, and then Heat. I really was impressed with Taxi Driver. It's not my type of genre, but Robert De Niro, I can't believe you haven't seen it, Gabe. Robert De Niro gives such performance, and it's almost like he's turned himself into a meme, kind of like Christopher Walken with his box from Meet the Parents or whatever. But he puts on such performance in Taxi Driver. It's a very dark film. It's all about this guy who wants to assassinate or something like that. I mean, it's very dark, but he goes in this transition like Arthur Fleck of, he's got some issues and then he becomes. But that movie, fantastic.
I'm going to insert myself and say, I haven't seen any of them. Like zero.
Shocker.
But I know that Raul earlier
You've never
said
seen The Godfather?
No, but I did see Shawshank Redemption. Raul had mentioned it in the comments earlier. That
one for you, Jody.
Oh, my favorite romantic movies.
Me and Gabe are going to fall asleep. Crocodile Dundee style.
Stop. I did see those. Okay. My favorite romantic book, and I love the film adaptation too, is Persuasion. It's written by Jane Austen. a couple different versions out there. None of them are exactly to the book, but I love it. It's all about this couple who falls in love, and then her parents are like her mom's like best friend. Anyway, long story short, persuades her not to accept his proposal because he's going to be a Navy and he's going off to war, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. Is he going to come back? And it's the 1800s Britain. So she really needs someone to take care of her. And so she says no, together, and 8 years later, and they still love each other even more, but a little bit of pride gets in the way on his end. And I relate to the main character, and she won't say anything. She'll let what she wants get away from her. And I'm kind of that kind of a person. I don't fight for things, and sometimes it gets Nick really frustrated. No, I'm not really one to stand up for myself or fight very much. It's just easier just to make everybody else happy and walk away. So I think I like that. So that's so really, really love North and South. I love Like Crazy. That's an amazing romantic story. It's very real. I do. I love Austin Land. It's got Austin. Gave your eyes. I
haven't seen any of these movies.
You need to see He's Just Not That Into You. It's a rom-com and it's hilarious. A bunch of like very popular American actors. That's awesome too. So Something Borrowed. Man, let's just go in our movie closet. I can just keep going. I just like all the romance.
Oh, you know what? Here we go. I thought of one. 50 First Dates. I really like 50 First Dates. I guess if you can call that a romantic no, he's in love with Drew Barrymore and
Adam Sandler. It's like, it's not a true love. It's like a make fun of.
I like that movie too. I think that's a good movie.
You know what you should is All the Bright Places on Netflix. I hear it's a book and I can't read the book because I don't know if I could go through that story again.
It's like,
it is amazing. It's so like it goes into deep things. Like I just was not expecting what happened. It was real, and I appreciated that.
Okay, I'm gonna no one cares, but I'm gonna give them anyway. So number 3, I'm gonna put The Notebook. And I know that's lame and cliche, but I do like that movie a lot.
The book's better.
Number 2, The Wedding Singer. That movie is just fantastic, and it's hilarious. Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, but it is a love story. It's so great. And then that probably no one here has ever seen, Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour from like the 1980s, called Somewhere in Time. If you have not seen this movie, Gabe, you might even like it. Who knows? Watch it with your wife. We're talking Superman himself, Christopher Reeve, the beautiful Jane Seymour. It's about this guy who falls in love with from like 80 years ago, and he hypnotizes himself to go back in time, and he actually meets this girl, and it's a tragic love story. Ending is going to break your heart, but it is such a great movie with such great music. You guys, if you haven't seen it yet, which I know you haven't, check it out. Somewhere in Time.
Best coming of age movie. Okay, not a movie, a book, Where the Crawdads Sing. You got to check it out. That is awesome. You'll never expect the ending. You're just like, woo! That's awesome.
Coming of age movie. I don't know. Gabe, what do you got on that one?
I would say All the Bright Places.
Coming of age movie. That's a really good one. Can we consider Coming to America coming of age movie? It's a comedy, but he's going to be king. It's
I don't know.
His
Coming
birthday.
to the country.
I guess. I don't know.
Flipped. That was a book and also a movie. That was really good. That was a cute coming of age.
I'm going to answer coming of age, and it's probably not a real one either, but Wyatt Earp. You get Wyatt age. He's trying to figure out who he is in that movie with Kevin Costner. Check it out.
Ooh, Breakfast Club. That's a good book. A good movie. Breakfast Club.
16 Candles.
Never saw
all
it.
the John Hughes movies for the most part, honestly. Pretty in Pink and whatnot. Those are great coming of age movies. There's been a lot of coming of age recently. Juno, that's a funny. I haven't seen the ones like 8th grade or anything. I saw the one 17 and Counting or something like that. I didn't like that one too much, but
Starbucks drink. Probably the pink drink or the dragon drink. I like those. Do you drink Starbucks, Gabe?
I do indeed. I like the caramel macchiato.
Nice.
I don't do Starbucks, so
I just take
my favorite's like a hot. I even think they can make hot cocoa that well because like they use the actual chocolate. They don't use a nice fake processed chocolate. So get out of here with that nonsense.
Favorite fast food? Gabe, what's yours?
Domino's, man. I love pizza. Well, Domino's not fast food. It is kind of fast food. You know what I mean? You can go, and I mean, I don't really like the burger places. If I had to pick a burger place, it'd probably be In-N-Out.
Okay, Nick.
It used to be is a West Coast thing. It's a burger joint that everyone says is the best burgers, but every time I go there now, I get sick, so I had to bump that out. Favorite fast food? It's not real Mexican, but I love fake Mexican food. I love real Mexican food. Taco Bell, Del Taco, I like them both. I love Jimmy John's. The sandwiches, unbelievable, fantastic.
I am like having a brain fart. What is that Mexican place that I like? I always get the enchiladas with the green sauce.
Okay.
Oh, I like Cafe Rio. Cafe Rio is so good. That and Panera Bread, but Panera Bread's, I don't know if I'd call it fast food. It's like a cafe-ish.
I do like Domino's a lot though too, Gabe. Papa John, I love pizza. So we are nearing the end. He says Taco Bell in India is not so good. We are nearing the end we are at the end. We appreciate everyone that's joined us. It's Saturday morning for us. Our kids have been amazing. Attention, make sure they ate some breakfast, brushed their teeth, and all that kind of stuff. But thank you so much for joining us in this live stream. We love. On a personal note, I'm trying to get a live stream with Movie Community College coming maybe next week. We'll see. Look out for that. But everyone that's been here, that's joined us, that's commented, the super chats, thank you so much. We hope you guys are all staying safe. We're going to keep bringing videos. Tonight might be the for that. Look for Cricket for Americans, our other channel that is alive and well. We'll be dropping a new video there, probably to interview video that was a Patreon request, but we'll be bringing more to you on that channel. Check that out. We have a new channel, Cricket for Americans. We got some artwork by artwork. Check out that channel. We'll be doing new videos all the time on there. And for me, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for everything. I appreciate.
Until next time. Goodbye.
We know all things.